Command has been given. Crank him up.
Let's go. When I say I don't know, I don't know.
Let's go, baby.
Now, the Morning Drive.
Buckle up, everybody.
A little bit of this and a little bit of that.
It's a game changer.
I listen to you guys every single day on my way to work.
Well, again, I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on the radio.
You guys are amazing.
What are you doing over there?
I'm going to the top.
The Morning Drive with Mike Bagley and Pete Pistone.
To the bat balls.
Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90. Live and on the air for this Monday morning, March 13th, 2023. Mike Bagley here in Del Marvelous Studio 1D. Pistol Pete Pistone is in the Paisan Palace in Chicago. Sammy and Melvin are in Studio 134 of the Beltway Bureau in our nation's capital. We welcome each and every one of you to this Monday morning and the day after. The West Coast swing has concluded. And as was the case in Las Vegas, Phoenix Raceway had William Byron and Rudy Fugel's name along with Hendrick Motorsports' name written all over it.
From Phoenix Raceway.
Drivers, start your engines! Woo!
Kyle Larson on the hammer. He'll lead the field to the green flag, and it's in the air, and we are underway. Kyle Larson quickly across the dogleg. It's on as they race to one.
Byron goes to the dogleg, trying to take advantage of the bobble on the part of Kyle Larson. It doesn't quite work. They're side by side. Larson gets in a little bit too hot. He bobbles again, and William Byron has got the top spot.
Some of those good race cars, Martin Truex Jr. and Joey Logano, having some issues.
Yeah, they were racing each other pretty hard down there into turn 1 and 2, and little contact, lost 4 or 5 spots before they gathered everything back up and got rolling again.
3 to go in the stage. Logano goes a lap down. He'll try the crossover move. That won't work.
Oh, God, I'm freaking hanging on here.
He's looking for his 3rd stage win already of the season, and he will get it across the line. Comes William Byron. Green and white checkered flag is waving and waiting for him on lap number 60. William Byron scoring the stage 1 win.
Pretty much the whole field said that run was tighter. What did you have there?
I felt the same, honestly.
Green flag will fly here on lap number 68. Kyle Larson on the inside, William Byron on the outside. Then the Toyotas of Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, and here comes Kyle Busch.
Oh, problem right here, just past the start-finish line. Eric Almirola, the wheel has come off the race car, and that steel wheel is going to bounce off the inside safer barrier and begin to work its way back up the racing surface.
His first stage win of 2023, his 43rd in his career. Kyle Larson across the line. Green and white checkered flag is out on lap 185. Kyle Larson scoring the stage 2 win.
The whole field is moving around a lot behind you and is really working their tires. I'd say whatever's going to be the most neutral for you that you feel comfortable maintaining laps, keep doing that. You've got a 2.5 lead right now. Also think about your brake knob if you need it.
Green flag goes back in the air, and we're at it again. Larson nearly gets sideways as they cut the corner.
Looked like an even Steven start at the stripe, but it's Larson who has a hood out in front. William Byron goes to the bottom, almost made it 3 wide. Kevin Harvick right there as well.
Kyle Larson, Todd, you saw this from the beginning. In fact, you saw this as early as yesterday, knowing that Kevin Harvick, and I've been told it's not lime, it's just green, so we'll call it that green Ford Mustang, is going to begin to loom large in the rearview mirror of Kyle Larson, now down to 1.9 seconds. Harvick's closing in. Boy, Harvick dials up the low lane. They're side by side for the lead. Kevin Harvick going after the lead here in Phoenix.
Harvick keeps it on the high side, does not use the dogleg. Into turn 1 they come, side by side and wheel to wheel. Harvick uses a little bit of the apron. He's got a hood out in front, a door panel in front. Kevin Harvick is your new leader at Phoenix.
Oh, trouble right here in the dogleg. Harrison Burton goes for a spin. Caution is on the speedway with 11 laps to go. Make it 10 now as Harvick comes by the start-finish line. Harrison Burton spins just past the start-finish line, corrects the race car after doing a 360 in a big cloud of smoke in front of oncoming traffic, and we've got a whole new ball game with 10 laps to go.
Never seems to go our way.
Kyle Larson is in. Cliff Daniels asked him, what can I give you? Kyle said a short run. He's going to get that short run. Right side tires only for Larson. Right side tires. Larson wins the battle off the road. It was right sides only for William Byron. He goes out second. Ryan Blaney goes out third.
Green flag goes back in the air immediately to the apron. Goes Ryan Blaney going after Kyle Larson. They're 3 wide.
Trouble in turn 2. It's A.J. Allmendinger. He slides to a sideways stop right at the exit of turn 2. And we're going to have to re-rack him and do this again. It looked like AJ got tagged from behind, slid sideways. He has grabbed a gear and continued.
Green flag in the air. Overtime is underway. Good restart for Kyle Larson.
Side by side for the top spot. Kevin Harvick 4 wide further back, 3 wide at the front of the field. It's Byron into turn 3. Blaney to the inside of Larson and Reddick for second.
1 more mile, 1 more lap. White flag is in the air. William Byron's going to lead him back to 1.
He has busted out of the box through the dogleg into turn 1. Has a car length and a half over Ryan Blaney. Kyle Larson is at Blaney's right elbow. And around the outside comes Tyler Reddick. But it's William Byron leading the field off turn 2.
Off turn 2 for the final time. It's William Byron by 2 car lengths over Ryan Blaney. Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, and Kevin Harvick.
Here they come up off turn 4. Checkered flag is in the air. And William Byron is going to win the United Rentals Work United 500 at Phoenix.
Oh, yeah, baby. Turn around. Let's go. Great job, driver. Job, pit crew. Heck yeah. Woo. Awesome job, Pete. Awesome job.
That's how it sounded yesterday on the Motor Racing Network, the NASCAR Cup Series, racing at Phoenix Raceway, a race that had a lot of twists and a lot of turns, especially at the end with late race caution flags and double overtime. And in the end, Petey, it was the number 24 team, Hendrick Motorsports, William Byron, Rudy Fugle, celebrating in Victory Lane their second consecutive win in the Cup Series.
Well, they did it in the same fashion to a degree that they did last week at Vegas. A really good pit stop at the end, a very strong race car, and it all came together. And he was able to pick up a second straight victory, and certainly another win for Chevrolet. They are perfect for 2023. And all in all, it was a really good weekend, and certainly the 24 team topping everything out there for Chevrolet and Hendrick Motorsports on Sunday.
Now, for me, if those caution flags don't come out, Kevin Harvick wins that race.
No doubt.
However, in a rare outfoxed moment, Rodney Childers decides to put 4 tires on, and Rudy put 2 on, and others put 2 on as well, and that buried Kevin in the restart territory. I was surprised that Rodney went with 4 tires.
I am too. And then you heard what Kevin said afterward about he'd rather be on the offense, and he felt obviously with 4 tires they would allow him to do so. But track position, as we saw, and I'm sure we'll get into this as we talk about the race, track position really meant a lot yesterday. Even with the new rules package and some of the things that the teams had to deal with and the drivers had to deal with, I was a bit surprised by that. But I'm with you, Baggy. If that race would have gone green, what a story. Kevin Harvick would have had his 10th Phoenix victory. Didn't turn out that way. He had to settle for a top 5.
One of the things from our Friday 4 is something that you brought up. You were waiting to see how the new aerodynamic package affected the competition yesterday. What is your assessment?
I can't really tell. I really can't. I can only tell you what the driver said. As I watched it, I didn't notice anything that was different, in my view, from what we've seen at Phoenix in the last few years, based on tire wear and tire management and some of the other things that we heard drivers and crew chiefs say. I would say it's a step in the right direction. I guess for me, when we get to Martinsville and Richmond, maybe they have a little bit better indication, Baggy, but I didn't see, watching it here in the command center, anything that was drastically different. But as I say, when you hear what some of the drivers had to say, what some of the crew chiefs had to say, it did seem to make an impact that at least was a step in the direction that NASCAR is hoping it can go to and give these drivers a little more control on these size racetracks.
Well, there was a lot of slipping and sliding yesterday, and it seemed like that you had a select few that really had their arms around the aerodynamic package. I think that explains some of the stretching out of the front of the field. Thought we had some good racing, and I thought that overall, first time out, I'll give it a thumbs up, but I do think that teams, some more than others, need to go to work and get thrashing on this new aero package. We're going to see it obviously at COTA on the road course. It's coming up at Richmond later this season. But I would say that as with anything that you throw at that garage, Petey, you have the haves and then you have the have-nots. The have-nots are probably scratching their head, asking themselves what in the world happened in Phoenix yesterday.
Well, if you go back to some of the comments beginning of last week, and Denny Hamlin was really the guy that said this, he felt like even though you had the extra 50 minutes, not the extra 50 minutes, but the 50 minutes, 30 minutes extra than they usually get on Friday, simulation was going to be a key. Well, it would certainly appear, Mike, that Chevrolet and Hendrick Motorsports had it pretty much figured out when they got there. Now, we'll get to the story about Hendrick Motorsports and the louvers that were confiscated and what might happen in the past that this weekend, but in race trim they did not have those parts. So if anybody's saying, oh well, they had illegal parts on their race cars yesterday, that was not the case. But in terms of what we saw leading into Sunday, it did feel like Chevrolet. I know we were texting on Friday, wow, Toyota seemed to really be behind in practice. Ford had some room to grow for sure, but it did feel to me like Chevrolet and obviously Hendrick Motorsports had their arms around this thing going to Phoenix.
Well, Toyota did have their hands full over the weekend. Coming in, their highest driver was Bubba Wallace in 16th. That's when we got texting. It's like, wow, Toyota's having a hard go of it there. They were able to rebound, and they qualified pretty decent. Well, two of them did it anyway, with Denny and Seabell qualifying 2nd and 5th. Everyone else 12th or worse. At the end of the day, though, Toyota's still had that uphill climb. I mean, when you look at the overall finishing result, yes, Tyler Reddick finished in 3rd, but other than that, you had Seabell in 6th, and then you dropped down to 14th on back for everybody else. So they started with challenge. A couple of them made a dent in it, but overall, when you go back and review the 312 laps, I would say that the Toyota folks are some of those doing the head scratching, like, what do we have to do to get our arms around this new aerodynamic package going forward?
Yeah, and a lot of discussion, too, was about short run speed, right? And we had a lot of long runs yesterday in the race, too. So you got to sort of compare and contrast with that. We only had, 5 caution flags, so obviously 2 of those were for stage breaks. So there were a lot of long green flag runs there, and I know Adam Stevens told us this last week when we talked to him on the Toyota side. Short run speed was something that they needed. They seemed to have it because you saw Denny Hamlin qualify outside the front row, but I think generally speaking, they'll take 2 drivers in the top 10, but I do think you're right. I think Toyota's got some work to do on this package early on.
So yesterday with Byron, Larson, Bowman, and Barry all finishing in the top 10, can we address the Hendrick Motorsports? I don't want to say dominance, but it would appear to me that at least in the last 2 weeks that they had their arms around things more than anybody else, confiscated louvers or not.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Hendrick Motorsports is the best team right now in the garage. Chevrolet is the best manufacturer in the garage. They've won every race this year. You got to go back to 2001 for the last time for that to happen. So they for sure are the best ones out there. And I'm glad you mentioned Josh Berry. 2nd time now in for Chase Elliott. And look at him with a top 10 finish. So that shows you, in my opinion, just how strong Hendrick Motorsports is, Mike.
Coming up, you will hear from the top finishers in yesterday's United Rentals Work United 500. Headline check number 1 coming up, bottom of the hour. Then we'll wade into the checkered flags, black flags territory from our trip out west over the weekend, followed at 8:50 by checking of the calendar. Coming up, we'll also recap the NASCAR Xfinity Series race in the 9 o'clock hour. And, of course, we'll run you all through it again in the 10 a.m. Eastern Time hour. Lots to discuss as we have wrapped up the West Coast swing, and we're looking forward to doing it with you at 866 Pit Lane and also on Twitter at SiriusXM NASCAR, hashtag TMD NASCAR.